Hey everyone, thanks for tuning back in to mattsteinway.com. Alright, this is talking about selling your house yourself. Should you sell your house yourself? Why not? It's be alright to do. I know some people do it and some people have success, some people don't. Here's a stat before we start. Only 6% of houses that are marketed for sale by owner sell. Only 6%, that's all. So that's a lot that doesn't, 94% that doesn't actually sell during the marketed time. So what's the pros and cons with this? Well, I think a lot of the time people sell their own home because they'd like to save the fee, which is fine. And maybe they feel they can promote their home a little bit better themselves also. So they know their home a little bit better and they feel more competent or capable of selling that to a buyer. Which I think, yeah, definitely, there's some pluses there if that's the way that you wanted to go. On the other side of that, and I've seen a lot of people try and sell their own house or have sold their own house. And what's the flip side of that? So there's a couple of things that I've seen. Is I reckon the reason a lot of owners don't sell their own home when they first market it by themselves is because feedback. When you're dealing with a buyer, buyers aren't really going to tell you that they just don't like your house or they think your house is overpriced or something like this. And you need this sort of feedback. When we sell a property, for instance, as agents, we get all the feedback we physically can and we help an owner navigate through the marketplace so they end up at a saleable position, hopefully. And you do that based on the clarity of feedback that you get. And that's why feedback's so important, because it helps you understand what's the common thread in the marketplace on, you know, the 10 buyers or 20 buyers that have come through your home in the early stages. What are they saying? Yeah, how are they seeing it compared to other homes? And if you don't get that I don't want to say feedback again, I've said it about 5 times. But if you don't get that information, then you don't know where you stand. You're just sitting there, like going, waiting for someone to make you an offer. And when no offers come, you don't know why. Everyone says they like the house. Of course they're going to say they like the house because you're the owner, they're the buyer, and they don't want to insult you. Buyers would say something like this: look, it's really nice. I think your home is lovely. Thanks for having us through. I'm sure someone will buy it soon. And you think, brilliant, you know, what great feedback. And if you keep getting that sort of feedback, you're no better off in the next month or two, when most of the time your home should be sold within 2 months, say. Hopefully. Not always, but hopefully. So that would be one thing. The feedback is really unclear most of the time. The other thing is, even when you follow them up, they still don't tell you exactly what they're thinking. They don't tell you the price that they're thinking. If your home's listed at 650,000, they think it's worth 550,000. They will not tell you that. So even when you follow them up, they're still going to tell you filtered feedback. All right, let's move off the feedback for a minute. The other thing that I would say is when selling the home yourself and buyers are, I was just thinking about something else, when people don't turn up for appointments. Do you know how many times buyers say they're going to make an appointment for another look or an appointment in general and don't turn up? So much. And if you want to do that as an owner, that's completely fine as well. Get the house ready, all cleaned up, and they don't turn up. I mean, it happens to us as agents anyway, so that doesn't matter if you're doing it as an owner or as an agent. So what I was saying about with feedback and directing your property through the marketplace, it takes some massaging at the moment, some managing to bring the marketplace together with a home. And if you don't have that, you can't sort of maneuver it. So that would be the one thing. And what does that do though? What does that do? See, time relates to price every time. So the longer your home sits on the market, the lower the price becomes. If you don't get any of that sort of information coming back to you and you can't direct your home through the marketplace so you're aligning with the market and 3 months goes by, you've missed the best opportunity to sell your home. You've missed it. because that first couple of months window is when all the excitement happens, when everything happens, and it's like the possibility for a great price or the best price comes then. And if you miss that and you're sitting there no better off than you were day one because you think everyone loves your home but they're just telling you that, then you've missed a really prime window. So that would be another thing. Your price is affected the longer your home sits on the market. The other thing is saving the commission. It's why I think a lot of owners try and sell their own home in the beginning, saving the fee. When it's really hard to negotiate on your own home. It just is. Because when you're negotiating on something that you're emotional about, it's difficult to see clearly. And when you've got somebody who's a neutral third party that you've engaged to represent you, there's less emotion there. And it's the key to a great negotiation is to have no emotion or have no emotional connection or attachment that's interfering with the negotiation in any way. See, let's say someone offers $550 and you want $650, and they're offering that based on their perspective, their reference points, because that's how people arrive at this sort of stuff a lot of the time. You could get really annoyed at them. You could get detached, or you could almost get a bit like, how dare they make this offer, if they made that sort of offer at all. But your home might not be worth $650,000. And they don't really know how to tell you that. And this is why having this valuable information is important. Because if your home is really only worth $600 and you find a buyer that happens to offer you $550 and you want $650, you're in love with your home. And you're coming from a highly emotional perspective. They're coming from a more logical, partially emotional perspective, but they see the price differently than you do. It's going to be really hard to bring that negotiation together, and that might be your buyer. That just might be your buyer. And the good thing about having somebody who's neutral and a third party, they'll tell you. They will tell you and help you and take away some of the cloudiness to help you maximize the outcome, whether that's exactly what you want in terms of price or not. And that's sort of what you need. Where is the market today for my house? That's what happens when people put their home on the market. They want to know. You've invested in positioning it to understand where is the market for my home today, because it might not be exactly at the price that you want. And that's why a lot of them don't sell also, because owners want too much sometimes and they don't get the feedback that they need to understand where the property actually sits. All right, so I know a lot of this is based around information feedback, but this is the crux of it. This really is. Because dealing with people, you need to get the information out of them, like you need to pull it out of them sometimes so you can make informed decisions around directing your property, negotiation, all of this sort of stuff to bring it to a successful outcome. The other thing I was going to say about selling yourself, negotiation, I think the one last thing is marketing. So usually when owners sell things by themselves, they look for the cheaper way to go. And it's like a signboard at the front and maybe an internet placement, and that's sort of it. That may work. You may jag a buyer and it might be great, we got this done. But most of the time it doesn't. Most of the time it doesn't look right. Like the photos aren't overly great. The signboards look okay. The ads, you probably don't put any ads in because you want to save the money. And I get all of this, but the question is, are you really saving anything, if not costing you something? Because buyers see this as, you know, you've usually taken this approach because you don't want to spend the money, or you don't want to not spend the money exactly. That's probably not exactly right. But you've taken this approach because you want to save. You want to save a few bucks, all right? And it has a very different feel in the marketplace when you see most homes marketed by agents and then one home marketed for sale by owner. It usually sends a different message. It sends a message that you'd like, that you don't want to deal with the agents. That maybe you're a bit different or a bit unique, or, you know, I'm not sure, but it just has a different feel that I'm not sure buyers take to it. I don't know if they actually gravitate towards having to ring an owner direct because there's a sign that says for sale, call this mobile number. I know that's no different than calling an agent, for instance, but I think they feel more comfortable in getting the initial information from somebody who's an agent or a representative, or that they can detach from if they need to. Whereas if they've got to ring you as the owner and say, Bob, can you tell me about your house? There might be some reservation there initially, and having that, you've got to break those barriers down for buyers to feel comfortable. And would there be some reservation around a home with a private for sale on it? I think so. I think so, even more than agents. People don't like ringing agents half the time, and it's not even their houses, let alone ringing the owner. So just consider that. Look at it from a buyer's perspective and get a sense of, would you like to call the owner of a house to talk about their house and go through the house with them? Would you like to do that? I've had a lot of feedback from buyers that they don't actually really like it. So to save a few dollars in the beginning or a few $1,000s in the beginning with fee and maybe some extra marketing, I get that. But if your home doesn't sell, like the 94% of them that don't, what's the cost to you? The cost to you is lost time, buyers not being attracted to your property, and you sitting there with no better off in regards to valuable information with where your property actually really sits today than you were from day one. So the cost to that can be massive, because once your home misses that first opportunity of really getting to know the market and connecting with the market, you don't get a second chance to sell your house, and that's expensive. All right, question of the day today. I wrote it down because I've forgotten a few of them over time. So question of the day today, do you think it's a good idea to sell your own home yourself? I'd love to get a conversation going around this. I'd love to hear from people who have sold their own home themselves, and people that have tried, and people that just don't want to. All of them would be great. I'd love to hear about all different aspects of it. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, helping make this real estate world a much better place. See you on the next video.